The Alex the Werewolf Story. Dear Scary Stories NYC. I never imagined that my life would take such a wild turn. Growing up as the wealthy daughter of a rich family, I was always taught to stay within our societal boundaries. But sometimes life has a way of shattering your expectations and leading you in directions that you never thought possible. It all started for me one fateful night at a lavish charity event hosted by my parents. It was a pretty sophisticated event, but I was looking for something more exciting. As I navigated the sea of tailored suits and designer dresses, my eyes fell upon the most captivating figure I had ever seen. He exuded a raw energy, an untamed aura, that intrigued and frightened me all at once. Captivated by this mysterious stranger, I found myself acting on an impulse I never thought I was capable of. With each stolen glance, my curiosity grew stronger, urging me to uncover the secrets behind those piercing amber eyes. So I set off on a clandestine mission to explore the forbidden world he inhabited, a world I knew my family would never approve of. That evening, beneath the pale moonlight, I ventured into the underbelly of the city, a place where wealth and privilege held no sway. Rusty street lamps cast an eerie glow, illuminating the gritty reality that my life had shielded me from. With each step, anonymity granted me newfound liberation, as if I were an actress stepping onto an elaborate, yet treacherous stage. Then at the heart of it, I found him. The enigma that had consumed my every thought. His name was Alex. A name so simple, yet hiding a complexity that left me spellbound. In his presence, I felt a mixture of unease and awe. There was an intensity to him, a primal energy that made my heart race, and my palms clammy. It took some time for him to open up, as if afraid that his true nature would drive me away. But as the weeks turned into months, the trust between us deepened, and I came to understand the duality of his life. Alex carries a burden few can comprehend, the affliction of being a werewolf. I witnessed the pain that he endured as the full moon thrust him into a world of savage instincts and unbridled desires. But even in his darkest moments, he never lost his humanity. It was this resilience and innate goodness that drew me closer to him, eroding the barriers between our worlds. Our secret rendezvous became the anchor in a turbulent sea of expectations and privilege. In his arms I found solace, an escape from the suffocating pressure of conformity. With him, life became an exhilarating journey, a dance between moonlit nights and stolen kisses beneath starry skies. But our forbidden love always weighed heavy on our hearts. We knew that the divide between us could never truly be crossed, at least not within the rigid boundaries set by society. The world deemed us incompatible, our love an anomaly too great to withstand the scrutinizing eyes of our families. Now, as I sit in the opulence of my gilded bedroom, surrounded by superficial extravagance, I can't help but yearn for a life less constrained. A life where love knows no bounds, where societal prejudices surrender to the bonds of the heart. The complexities of our passion may forever be confined to hidden corners of the night, but that's the time that is shaping the person I am becoming. So as the moon rises at night, I dream of Alex and the love I've found in the depths of darkness. I remember the special night when Alex first wanted me to see his transformation, his metamorphosis into the werewolf. I sat cross-legged on the threadbare carpet of his small studio apartment, my anxious gaze fixated on him. Beads of sweat adorned his forehead, his features strained with an impending torment. The air grew heavy with a tangible tension, making it difficult to draw in a breath. As the first twinges of pain began to haunt him, A low growl escaped his clenched teeth, reverberating through the confines of the room. I watched, my heart wrenching with both fear and an unwavering love, as his muscles contorted and twisted, reshaping his once human frame. It was an agonizing process. Bones shifted, elongated, and reassembled themselves, accompanied by gut-wrenching snaps and pops. The dance of agony and transformation was as mesmerizing as it was terrifying. With each passing moment, Alex became less human and more beast. A chorus of howls and whimpers tore through the night, merging with the sound of my racing pulse. The scent of fur, earth, and an undeniable wildness filled the room, mingling with my senses, intoxicating me. His hands, now clawed and muscular, raked the wooden floor, leaving deep grooves in their wake. And in that moment of brutal metamorphosis, I marveled at Alex's continued strength. Despite the unrelenting pain coursing through his veins, his eyes never lost their warmth. His heart never lost its tenderness. It was as if the essence of who he truly was, a kind-hearted, compassionate soul, was unbreakable, even in the throes of this monstrous shift. Finally, as the moon reached its zenith, he completed his transformation. Standing before me was a majestic creature, dark fur glistening under the moonlight, eyes glinting with a mixture of untamed instincts and lingering humanity. He let out a mournful, triumphant howl, a proclamation of his existence and his acceptance of this fate. As his eyes locked with mine, I could feel the connection between us grow stronger. In his beastly form, he was still Alex, still the being I had come to love so ardently. The dichotomy of his wolfish exterior and his gentle, soulful interior combined in a captivating dance, echoing the complexities of our forbidden love. But it was in that moment that the reality of our predicament fully sank in. The world would never accept the beauty and fierceness of our connection. We were bound by secrecy, forever hidden within the shadows of society, where we could only find solace in the stolen moments and secret embraces. Despite the pain, the obstacles, and the ever-present threat lurking in the shadows, our love grew stronger with each passing metamorphosis. And in the stillness of the night, as I brushed his velvety fur with trembling hands, I knew that, no matter the sacrifices, I was willing to endure the excruciating beauty of his transformation. For love knows no bounds, not even the boundaries imposed by a man turned wolf. The morning after witnessing Alex's transformation, I found myself immersed in a sense of reverie, still overwhelmed by the intensity of the previous night. But the respite was short-lived, as the weight of my secret relationship with a working-class werewolf loomed over me, like an impending storm. As the sun cast its golden glow through the expansive windows of my lavishly decorated bedroom, I sat perched on the edge of my soft, indulgent bed. It was then that my father, a stern figure of authority, entered the room, with a grave expression etched upon his face.
"Darling,"
he began, his voice tinged with both concern and frustration.
"we need to talk about this relationship of yours."
I swallowed hard, the reality crashing upon me like a tidal wave. This was the moment I had been dreading. I had always known that my family was steeped in wealth for generations, and that they would never accept someone like Alex into their meticulously crafted world, let alone a werewolf from the wrong side of the tracks.
"I've observed your recent behavior, your absences, your distractions,"
my father continued, his voice filled with disappointment.
and I cannot turn a blind eye to the path you're treading upon. You come from a world of privilege, and it's expected that you conduct yourself accordingly.
My heart sank, the weight of his words crushing my spirit. I had grown up in a bubble, shielded from the harsh realities of life. My father's words were a cold, hard reminder that our worlds were not meant to collide. That even the deepest love couldn't bridge the chasm between our social classes.
But Daddy,
I pleaded, my voice laced with desperation.
you don't understand. Alex, he's different. He's not defined by his circumstances or his affliction.
His eyes bore into mine, searching for any trace of defiance.
It isn't about his character, my dear, but rather the complications and expectations that come with his existence. We live in a society shaped by rules and expectations, and we must abide by them.
I fought back tears, my mind racing with a mixture of anger and resignation. How could I explain the magnetic force that connected me to Alex, the genuine happiness I felt in his presence, when my father's eyes could only see the superficial barriers that society had erected? I whispered, my voice shaking.
Daddy, love knows no boundaries. It defies class and societal constructs. I can't define what I feel, no matter the consequences.
His expression softened with an evident struggle. He paused, his gaze a mix of love and concern, a father grappling with his own fears and protective instincts.
I understand that your heart is drawn to him,
He admitted, his voice finally taking on a gentle tone.
but my obligation as your father is to protect you and ensure your happiness. I fear that this path you've chosen will only bring you heartache and strife.
I nodded, tears streaming down my cheeks, silently acknowledging his fears, his perspective. I knew my father loved me, and that every protective instinct he possessed was born out of that love. Still, it was a love that did not understand the complexities of my connection with Alex, nor the sacrifices I was willing to make for him. As my daddy left the room, a heavy silence settled upon me. I knew that the world I had once known, sheltered in luxury and privilege, would forever be tinged with the bittersweet longing for a love deemed forbidden. I took one last glance at the grandeur that surrounded me before making my decision, firm and unwavering, to fight for our love, no matter the odds. Because even as my father cautioned me against the perils of our relationship, I couldn't ignore the truth that coursed through my veins. Alex had opened my eyes to a world beyond materialistic boundaries, to a love that transcended societal expectations. And though the road ahead would be paved with challenges, we were determined to build a future where werewolves and the wealthy could coexist, a world where love truly knew no bounds. The Dogman and the Rich Girl. Dear Scary Stories NYC. As a self-centered rich girl, my life has always revolved around the latest fashion trends, extravagant parties, and indulging in the finer things. But there was one particular day that shattered my superficial cocoon, an experience that left me trembling and reevaluating my perspective. On that fateful day, I decided to escape the city's chaos and venture into the nearby woods, craving solitude. The crisp autumn air enveloped me as I wandered deeper into the unknown sanctuary. Dressed in designer hiking boots and a carefully styled athletic ensemble, I felt invincible, oblivious to the world beyond my own glamorous bubble. The farther I walked, the more I lost myself in the serenity of nature's embrace. However, that tranquility was abruptly shattered when a low growl pierced the silence. Panic seized my heart as I turned around to see an enormous dog standing just a few feet away, a beast whose gigantic presence devoured my confidence. The creature's eyes bore into mine, shining with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. Its fur, a mix of shades resembling autumn leaves, stood on end, adding to the air of threat that I was feeling. Fear paralyzed my body, while my mind spun tales of this monstrous hound attacking me, ruining my perfectly put-together look. Desperate to escape, I sprinted away from the fearsome canine, my breath jagged and shallow. Yet no matter how fast I ran, its massive form loomed close behind. My heart pounded, my mind occupied with thoughts that the dog would rip into my flesh, and that would ruin everything. As the seconds turned into minutes, it felt like an eternity spent being pursued by this colossal beast. But then, unexpectedly, my flight came to an abrupt halt. Unable to go any further, I braced myself for the inevitable violent confrontation. I closed my eyes, preparing for the pain and the disarray. Moments ticked by, but instead of sharp teeth sinking into my skin, I felt a nudge against my leg. Tentatively, I opened my eyes to find the enormous creature nuzzling me, its tail wagging uncontrollably. My fear evaporated as quickly as a raindrop hitting a scorching pavement. The ferocious beast, which had struck terror into my heart, simply wanted to be petted and showered with slobbery kisses. I couldn't help but laugh at my own foolishness, at how mere appearances had blinded me from truly understanding the world around me. In that moment, I realized the superficiality of my entire existence. Everything was about image. I had been so absorbed in my own self-centeredness that I failed to embrace the simple joys that life had to offer, even in the most unexpected circumstances. That experience in the woods pierced through my ego and awakened something within me. I now understand that between every outward appearance, there lies a treasure chest of surprises. And so I continue on my journey, ever open to the wonders that life unveils, even if they come in the form of a giant, slobbery dog. The Valley Girl and the Dogman. OMG, you guys, this is like seriously one of the most terrifying things that has ever happened to me, and I just have to like dish all the deets. So hold on to your pumpkin spice lattes and listen up, because this is a like seriously chilling tale. Okay, so I live in this beautiful house in the hills surrounded by lush woods that are like totally perfect for wild adventures. So like one day I'm just like finishing up a yoga session in my backyard when I noticed this large figure lurking in the distance. Ugh, that's like all I need, right? At first I think it's just like some creepy guy trying to be all stealthy, but oh no, it's so much worse. As I approach, I catch a glimpse of its beady, bloodshot eyes peering through the dense foliage. And then, you guys, it stepped out from the shadows, and my perfectly contoured face goes as white as my designer handbag. This thing, and I am so not kidding, is like the biggest, scariest dogman I have ever seen in my life. Its fur is all matted and dirty, and it has these like razor-sharp teeth that could like totally bite my arm off in one bite. I try to make a run for it, but my sky-high stilettos make it nearly impossible to move without face-planting into the bushes. So I muster up all the bravery within my perfectly manicured nails, and I decide to like befriend this creature. So I cautiously take a little tiny minting step toward the dogman, and then 2 or 3 or 4 more just to make up the step of a like normal footstep, pretending not to be like absolutely terrified, you know? I put on my most dazzling smile and I like introduce myself because duh, even scary creatures need to know who they're messing with. Surprisingly, the dogman actually starts wagging its mangy tail. Can you believe it? I couldn't. As days go by, we like totally become BFFs, you guys. I bring it fancy doggy treats and give it like the trendiest bandanas to wear when we go on our walks through the woods. It turns out that underneath all that scariness is like a really sweet and misunderstood soul. Just like I said, yo. And then one fateful night, things take a seriously dark turn. And I'm like shaking in my Chanel boots, yo. I receive an urgent text from my girl squad saying they just spied the dogman tearing through a neighboring village. I'm like in complete shock. How could this cuddly creature turn into like a total beast, yo? My perfectly manicured nails tap quickly on my iPhone, trying to figure out a solution. In the end, I realized that sometimes even the scariest and most misunderstood creatures can't be tamed. I mean, it breaks my beautiful heart, but I decide it's time to end our friendship. So I gather all my courage, and I bid farewell to the dogman, leaving behind a basket full of treats and a heartfelt note, hoping he can read English. Now I live in constant fear, knowing that the chilling beast still roams the woods behind my home. And whenever the moon is full, I can't help but imagine those bloodshot eyes watching me from a distance. It's like I'm stuck in my own personal horror movie, and there's like no escape, yo. So the moral of the story, you guys, is this. Don't be fooled by cute and cuddly appearances. Sometimes even in the world of glamorous designer trinkets and fancy outfits, true terror lurks just beyond your perfectly manicured backyard. Scary, right? Like you have no idea. Our EP is cool from head to toe. Of course, I'm talking about S.A. Rose. Please join me in thanking today's executive producer, S.A. Rose, for making this episode possible. S.A. Rose is a $7 member of our PayPal subscribers club, and you can join that too at peterbernard.com. We have other ways you can help the channel out and help us stay on the air, and here to tell you all about it is our international TV spokesmongrel, Henry Lee Dogman. Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after I think 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.